Hey, good afternoon, good day, our paranormal peeps. So we have some special guests with us today. To my left, we have
Stacy
and
Karina.
we also have my wonderful wife,
Jamey. Although wonderful might be a bit of a stretch.
I don't think so. So
it is a stretch.
It is. See, my brother says so it must be right.
I've known her longer than you. It's a stretch.
That's true. You have known her longer than I have.
Most of his life.
And a thing he regrets all the time, I'm sure.
Actually, I think he's known you his whole life.
Well, no, he was born 2 years, my whole life.
Yeah.
Not his whole life.
Yeah, your whole life.
Yeah.
So we are recording on location in Idaho. So we just spent last night doing about a 6-7 hour investigation. And we kind of got some rest up today, and then we're going to go back and hit it up tonight.
But I think it's fair to say that we're all kind of suffering from the paranormal hangover.
I think so.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what that's like, it's just like being hungover without the booze. Stacy, what got you into the paranormal?
So I've been into this probably since 6th or 7th grade, I think. And it started with a trip to the library at school. Yeah, Jamie's smiling because she knows this story.
I've told her.
I was looking for books to check out, and I found this book. All it said was Ghost. I don't know who wrote it, but and so I pulled it off the shelf and I started looking at it, and it's an older book. It was all text except for, the middle section had the glossy pages on it with some pictures.
Yeah.
Right? And I was flipping through those pictures, and I saw the photograph of the brown lady of Raynham Hall. Is it Raynham or Rayham? I forget.
Rayham.
Rayham. And that's what got my attention. So I took that book home and read it, and was kind of hooked from there.
So what was it? Was it something in particular that got you hooked on the topic or the subject, or?
I just saw the book, opened it up, looked at the picture, and thought, wow, that's cool. These things might be real.
Might be, huh?
What's your take on it now?
My take on it now is that they are. Not that I've seen anything, but I think there's just too much evidence. Too many strange things have been captured for it to not be real. I can't say what they are, but
there's something there.
There is something else going on.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that. So what about you, Karina? What got you into this?
Our weird family. Oh, sorry.
Well, without really realizing it, I've had experiences my whole life. And so when you guys said, hey, we're planning this trip, to Waverly, and we're going to go ghost hunting, it just seemed like a natural transition. And so then once we actually started doing the different ghost hunts and stuff and visiting these locations, I was like, I keep thinking of things that happen in my life that I was like, oh, there's one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, look, there's another one.
It starts to make a little more sense.
Mm-hmm. And, one of the experiences that when I start thinking about it, it's really in the top 3 that comes to mind is Amelia was born in 2008 and my dad died in 2005, but she recognized a photo of him and called him by name.
Wow.
So
you hear about things like that. See, now I've never personally witnessed or experienced anything like that, but you read about it, you hear about it, so that's pretty cool.
She didn't recognize my mom, who was also in the photo, so that just adds to the evidence.
Yeah, and your mom hasn't passed, but she didn't recognize
she's still
her, huh?
alive, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't know her name, but she knew my dad.
That's amazing.
I don't think I've actually heard that story before.
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, Stacy was standing in the living room, and he just was holding her, and she was real little because he had her sitting on his hip, and I don't think she was walking at that point. And I just remember her sitting on his hip, and she pointed to the picture and called him by name. So,
Wow. That is something. What did you think of that, Stacy, when that happened? When your daughter did that?
You know, I don't remember what my reaction was.
That doesn't surprise me.
Do you remember the incident?
What the?
Your sister has to flip you crap. I'm sorry.
I vaguely remember this,
Okay.
but I don't remember if I had a reaction or not. I really don't.
well, and I mean, in all fairness, it wasn't your dad, so it probably didn't register as much with you as it did with me, because I'm like, wait,
That's your dad, yeah.
yeah, knowing that he'd been gone all that time. So,
Yeah, and there's like no logical explanation that would say why someone who's been gone 3 years, a child who
Well, and never
would pick it up.
met their granddaughter.
Right.
well, and you know, I'm not that close with my mom, and I mean, because after I left home, I never really went back, and so they weren't a huge part of our life. They weren't people that we talked about. Like, you know, it was just a photo that was hanging in the living room, a portrait that my mom had done.
Yeah, you're sitting there wondering how could she? How could she have known?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So you mentioned the trip to Waverly in 2019. Was that the first actual investigation you guys have done?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first.
First
That
official,
was-
right?
Yeah, that was a big one for the first one.
It was. What's actually kind of funny about that is my first official investigation was Waverly. Jamey's first official investigation was Waverly. Nicole's first official investigation was Waverly.
Same with Dad.
Yeah, your dad's first official investigation was Waverly, and now your guys' first official investigation was Waverly.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
So am I. So
But it has to be a grown-up thing, because Amelia's first unofficial was Montana State, and she had. So
Azariah's
it doesn't
too.
have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
his too, and that was during an actual investigation though.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but Amelia's was during the tour, the
Right.
daytime walking. I remember we all went and kind of walked through there and kind of planned out where we were going to set up home base and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which was what, our third time doing the prison at that time?
I believe that was our second.
Yeah, it was the second for us.
Okay, so it was the third for us then. It would have had to have been, right?
Yeah, it would have had to have been the third.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the incident of the bad oysters.
Yeah, we won't go there. That's another podcast. So, what I'd like to talk about is our Kentucky trip, guys. So, Dad, myself, Josh, and Nicole drove. But I know that Stacy and Karina, because of time restraints and their jobs, they had to fly. So, I want to hear about how that all went, how your flight went, how getting your rental car went, and so on and so forth. Tell us how you got to Kentucky.
Well, you posted on Facebook that you were headed out, so I sent you a photo of Stacy that said, "Meanwhile, in Idaho," as he's sleeping on his pillow.
I remember that. He was still out, and we're like butt crack of dawn driving. We're all just drinking the coffee and popping the caffeine pills.
You're taking pictures of me while I sleep? That's creepy.
Sure
Perfect
is,
for this
sure
show.
did.
And it's not
Sure
the
will.
first time.
Little do you know.
Or the last.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Nah,
Go
that's
back.
a different topic altogether. But just don't look in the shoebox under the bed.
Really, he means the closet, since you know there's no under the bed.
Well, now you just gave it away. Time to go rehide it, Karina.
Oh, my closet is pretty big, and it has a crawl space, so no worries.
We chose to fly just because I don't like car trips. That's just it. They make me tired. It takes so long, and the flight was like 3 hours at most.
Yeah, barring any like mechanical difficulties, delay flights.
Yeah, we didn't have nothing like that.
Oh, you're
I think we
lucky.
had some layovers that extended the time a little bit, but the flights were pretty quick. But on the other hand, you miss a lot of stuff when you fly too. Like you guys went and stopped and saw different things. And
Absolutely.
We flew right over the top of it.
That's right. We went to Uranus. And we sat in your fudge factory.
Oh my goodness. Josh, you might want to elaborate on that for our listeners just a little bit.
Yeah. So Uranus, Missouri, there is a wonderful place on Route 66 called the Fudge Factory. So, yeah, it's a bit naughty in context, but it's a great place to get some fudge, and they really play it up a lot.
Oh yeah, and again, you know, we've referenced this before, but you can go to our YouTube channel, Coldspot Paranormal Research, and it actually has a photo montage of our trip, and there's a video of Uranus Fudge Factory on there, along with pictures and stuff. So check it out if you're curious.
Absolutely, and I believe it's called Trip to Waverly 2019.
Yeah, and it's worth it. Trust me.
Well, in the Meanwhile in Idaho photo that went with that was ice cream at the mall.
So they were really scrambling to get there.
Yeah, it was tough.
On the plus side, Stacy didn't end up with that old man car hangover. Just jet lag.
Jet lag.
Yeah, it was a little bit of jet lag. But I think we got into Louisville around 10.
Yeah, it was late at night.
Yeah, and then we had to Uber or Lyft or something. And he had a heck of a time finding the hotel.
Which is surprising considering it's like right on the main street and it's not far from the airport.
Well, in that day and age, do you not have like Google Maps or, you know, I mean, isn't...
He did.
And he still had that much trouble, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and so he's lost, right? And I'm like, oh, there's a gas station. Swing by because we needed snacks. And he charged us for it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I was like, you're the one that got lost. Why do I have to pay for that?
It took you so long. We got hungry.
We ended up in Indiana. I don't know how we did. We're supposed to be in Louisville.
Well, at that point, after that ride with Lyft or Uber or whatever it was, we decided to rent a car because we didn't want to have to deal with that throughout that whole trip, trying to get drivers. And so, yeah, and then nobody had a car.
Well, nobody had a hotel room either at first.
No, I had pre-booked that hotel, and we got there and the guy just kind of shrugs his shoulders and says, well, I don't know, you have to take it up with, you know, the site that we booked through.
At 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
As you're standing in the lobby with all your stuff, and the Uber has already left you there.
And your jet lag.
Yeah, tired. I ended up paying an extra $150 for the room.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, do you think, like, did they not have any available, or they just didn't have your reservation? What was it?
Oh, no, they had available rooms.
Okay, because I know that Kentucky Derby wasn't far off from the time that we were there. It was like a week.
Yeah, so the Kentucky Derby was a couple of weeks away.
Okay.
But that weekend was March Madness, and one of the sites was in Louisville.
Gotcha.
So they had a bunch of regional play in Louisville, and so that's why like hotels were pretty booked up, or issues with hotels and cars and travel and all of that stuff.
The whole idea behind flying was to try to make it a less stressful trip, and in the end, it didn't work.
So is the lesson now learned to just suck it up and drive?
No, we will totally be sending you Meanwhile in Idaho's.
Well, that's not going to work for the 2023 trip, guys.
It's not.
No,
Are you really going to fly that much and
No,
pay that much?
We're going to have to suck it up and get in the car for that one.
That's right. And you're going to love every minute. I promise.
You will. And we'll even stop in Uranus so you can get some fudge.
And some moonshine.
That's right.
Oh, you're going to stop in Uranus so that you can get fudge
Well,
from Stacy's Uranus.
well, we'll be in Uranus together.
Okay, this is just getting confusing and really out of hand.
Oh, that just goes off the rails, doesn't it? All right, so you guys eventually got the hotel stuff figured out and the rental car stuff figured out. But what time did you guys get that all done?
It was, 11 o'clock when we finally got into our room. And then I think early the next day we got a car finally.
So what'd you guys do that next day after you got your rental car? I mean, Did you go out to eat?
I think that was when we went and found that little bar from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, right? Because I feel like we kind of headed towards downtown and ate at that restaurant.
Well, it had to have been a bar because I don't remember it.
Were you drinking?
Oh, I have a photo.
I have a couple photos too. In fact, it's in the video montage.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, I remember. We went to that place. No, it was the day before.
He's got nothing.
Yeah, because when we got there, I feel like they either had gotten there that day or they were coming in the next day. Like, I feel like we got there first.
No, I think we got there first because I remember texting and you guys were like, well, we're trying to do this, or we didn't get this, or we're trying to figure out our room.
Oh.
So I think we had already...
Yeah, I think we beat you guys by about 6 hours.
Yeah.
I think we got there about the same day.
It was the same day. We just got there earlier in the day. They got there,
obviously
towards the end. So wasn't the next day the actual investigation at Waverly?
Yeah, I think the next day
Yeah.
was Waverly.
So it happened that we went to the Churchill Downs, Dad, Nicole, Josh, and myself. And then later in the day, we had Karina and Stacy come up and meet us at the hotel room, where we then watched our little cameos that were done for our group. One by Jason Haas from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Nation, and one from Grant Wilson. So that was a lot of fun. And then we handed out T-shirts with our logo and name on them, and took our pictures, and we all got in the vehicles and headed out for Waverly.
Yep. I think we carpooled, didn't we?
Somewhat. Stacy and Karina were in one, and then I think Dad and Nicole were with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2 vehicles.
Well, and we've always watched Ghost Hunters, so we really like Jay and Grant, but I was extra impressed that they pronounced my name correctly in those things.
They did, didn't they? Mm-hmm. I noticed that too. Those were great cameos. Of course, we can go on and we can post those on our sites, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end.
Yeah. So, what was your guys' thoughts, that little short drive that night up the hill to get to Waverly? What was going through your mind when you got up there?
I think we were following you, and
You got lost.
I did.
Well, yeah, because we had gone in the afternoon, and we actually ended up on the back side of the building.
Yeah, to get daytime shots.
We had taken some photos and stuff. And so, yeah, when you got lost, I was like, where's he going? Because this is the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can tell you where to go, Josh. And you're like, no, I got it.
Well, the part that was a little tough is our very first time we went to Waverly. We went through
The front.
the front entrance.
Yes.
And it's this beautiful, like, winding uphill road through the trees, and then it just drops you off in the Waverly Hills parking lot.
Yeah, but that was during a big event.
Right. And so when we went this time, I was like, well, that's where you go, because they didn't actually tell us which driveway to use. Mm-hmm. And so like, oh no, just take the one by the golf course. And there just happens to be 2 entrances pretty close to the golf course, and if you miss it, you end up in a neighborhood and not on the right road.
So, guys, when we finally got in the right way, what were your impressions getting out of the car and kind of standing there and looking at this building? What were your thoughts?
Coming up through the backside like that, really couldn't see how big that building really is.
Exactly.
I thought, this looks a lot smaller than the photographs you might see online. And so, I guess, unimpressed on the first impression.
I could totally get that, though, because for Josh and I, when we went in 2017, like he said, we went through the front entrance. And so when you come out of that tree line up onto the flat where the building is, it just takes your breath away, because you're just gawking at it, because you just can't believe you're there, and you can't believe the massive size of this building. It's a little overwhelming in a way. So I totally get, your perspective of going in the back way, and you're just kind of seeing like the tail end and the smaller portions of the building, and you're like, really? Wow, this is it? What's the hype?
Well, and I think that the driveway from the back, like, you actually start out pretty far away from the building, and so you're like, oh, okay. But then you drive and drive and drive, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You're like,
Well, too, and then the other thing too is you come up by the laundry facility, which is now the only entrance into Waverly Hills, which is also the gift shop, and so that's a much smaller building, and so you don't really get the full, front-on view of that building until you actually walk into it. We started out that investigation, right? After our little safety briefing tour with our security guard guy. So we started out in the death tunnel.
Or the body chute.
Or the body chute, yeah.
I've heard it both ways.
So have I. So for those of you who have never been in this death tunnel, the right-hand side is a ramp, and that's what they used to cart the caskets down as they were going out to the hearse. Then on the left-hand side, there's a set of stairs. And it's about 200-ish feet down.
In pitch black.
Yep. So what was your guys' thoughts walking down to the bottom of the death tunnel?
It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I didn't find it all that creepy, really. And that might have just been because we went down as a group. Like, everybody went down.
Okay, yeah.
And, in your mind, it's safety in numbers, right?
Right.
And so it didn't feel all that creepy, but it was cool. Very cool to see anyway.
Yeah, it's neat. It's really echoey, right?
Right.
Like even the smallest footfall just echoes up and down that tunnel.
And I think we were down there for, an hour? Doing an EVP session?
I think about 40, 45 minutes.
It felt like 5.
Well, it was cold. It was damp. It was dark. It was loud.
It was loud, but a lot of times when you're doing investigations, right, the time just starts to fly by. And so it really did not feel like we were down in the death tunnel very long. But I'm sure it was about 40 minutes to an hour, somewhere in there.
So after that, we ended up getting a radio call from one of the staff members there saying that the owner was there. And that was our only opportunity to go up to the gift shop and be able to purchase items while she was there. So we all made our way up out of the death tunnel and back down to the gift shop. And we made our purchases. Josh and I talked to the owner, Tina. Great lady. She's just amazing. Her story of how they saved the building and everything is just, I love it. I love what they're doing. And I'm really excited to see the changes that they make in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
When things reach completion and stuff. And so, yeah. So we talked with her for a bit. We all got our stuff. We regrouped, got our equipment, and we headed into the main building.
Yeah, and then this is where we split up. So Jamey and I headed up to the 4th floor. I think Nicole and your dad went to the 2nd floor. And then where did you guys end up?
We wound up on the 1st floor for the first part of that investigation, and that's really where I got the creep factor. Not any of the other floors, but that 1st floor creeped me out. It creeped me out when we were doing the day tour with the security guy.
Okay, what was there anything in particular that gave you the creeps in that place, in that section, or?
I can't even describe what that felt like. It was just creepy. I really don't know why.
I know the morgue is down there on the 1st floor.
But did Stacy, did you know that at the time that the morgue was actually down there?
I did not know that the morgue was there.
So to say that didn't factor into how creepy you were feeling is accurate. You weren't aware it was there.
No, that wasn't a factor at all. I got that creep factor the minute we stepped into the actual building.
Right.
From the gift shop.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me, anything interesting happen to you and Karina while you guys were there?
Yeah, on the 1st floor after we had split up, and you lose your numbers, right? We're down to 2.
Yeah.
And it gets creepier that way. Maybe you guys don't get that, but
every once in a while, I think we still kind of get a little creepy, just depending on what's going on.
Karina and I were standing there, and we could listen to everybody going their own way, and it got quieter and quieter and quieter, and pretty soon we didn't hear anything but ourselves.
Yeah.
So we just kind of started walking along, and I started hearing this shuffling noise behind me. I would say maybe 10 feet behind me.
Okay.
And I looked back a couple times, expecting to see mouse, rat, some kind of animal.
Did it sound like mice and rats, like they make that little like scurrying like noise? Did it sound like that, or more like
Footfalls.
or footfalls, or like the shuffling of like slippered feet?
No, this was more like scratching. I was expecting to see a rodent
Okay.
or something like that following us around. And I stopped a couple times to look, and of course there's nothing there. Getting a little more creeped out. Karina is off to my left, and we're walking along, and I feel this tap on my right elbow coming from behind.
Okay.
And I didn't react to this. I remember it pretty vividly, but I didn't react. I guess in my head I was thinking, did that really happen? Was that real? What was that? And then about 30 seconds later, it hit again, probably 3 times as hard, and it felt like something was trying to get my attention. And of course I spun around to look,
Yeah.
and Karina may or may not have peed a little. You remember this?
Yes, because you whipped around so fast, and I was like, what? Scared the crap. Okay, not the crap. Scared the pee out of me.
Yeah, I didn't feel like a hand or fingers or anything. It was just this, I guess I can only describe it as a concentrated force of some kind on my elbow, almost like being slapped.
Wow.
That's kind of cool.
So for your first big investigation, or really your first official investigation of any place, that was probably a little life-altering.
Yeah.
In the sense of the paranormal, right?
First big investigation, first actual paranormal experience. Yeah.
And are you familiar with the creeper of Waverly Hills?
I've heard stories of that. I haven't been able to really find any good evidence that exists.
And I myself had kind of looked into that, and I just don't buy into it.
Yeah.
Not that part. I just don't.
And I don't know how much that is actually true or not, but it makes you wonder, though, because what you heard was something crawling on the ground is exactly what the creeper has been known to supposed to do.
Yeah, he scurries along the ground
Or the
like
ceiling.
a crab, and he can crawl up the walls and up onto the ceiling as well. So the story goes. So, hey, maybe there is something more to this.
There might be, right? And that might have been the creeper. Obviously, you couldn't see it, and you just
didn't see anything.
You just felt it. So
I heard it and I felt it. Something was trying to get my attention.
yeah. Now, whereabouts on the first floor was this?
I think were we beyond the morgue? I don't remember how far down the hall we were.
Well, yeah, because on the other side of the morgue was that room, the only room that had electricity. And I know that we were past that because you had to go through this door that was like, I think it was part of their Halloween setup. But you had to go through the door, and I mean, there was a temperature difference, and I feel like we were close to that door. So we had to have been most of the way down that hallway.
And that's the door that they closed to keep the heat in, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys went beyond that door, then you were in a slightly different part. That was that part is closer to the administration area of Waverly. So the patients and stuff coming in would have come in kind of through that area, and they got checked in and then dispersed out.
So I want to turn to Karina real quick. And so we heard what Stacy kind of experienced and felt. I want to know, Karina, how did you feel when the groups broke off and it was just went from 6 people to all in a group to just you and Stacy down there? What were your feelings, and did you have anything interesting happen?
The hallways feel a little more oppressive. Like you feel like the dark is kind of pushing down on you. Not claustrophobic. I mean, if you're claustrophobic, that's probably what that feels like. But just really silent. So, I don't know, maybe like a padded room kind of thing. I've never been in one of those, so I don't know what they sound like. But I imagine that's probably similar. Because it's just so quiet, and you feel like you're the only people there.
So you didn't feel like you had like a bunch of unseen eyes on you? Mm-mm. Nothing. You just felt like completely, probably more of the sense of isolation.
Yeah.
Just the two of you and just stone quiet.
Yeah. Well, and there's not electricity that runs through that building except in that one room. So it's not like you're hearing wires buzz or, you know, anything clicking on or off. Like, it's just silent.
Yeah, and there's no running water in that section either, right?
No.
So it's just, it's just all that quiet. So the interesting thing, and I think maybe part of that oppression you feel is that the first floor was really the intake and the outtake of the building, right? And those doors that we walk through, you know, where we'd go and they only close these during winter, cold times is what they do. They trap the heat in to the gift shop area because it's an all open tunnel section, and so they just want to make sure they're not trying to heat a 60,000 square foot building that doesn't have windows, which isn't going to be very effective at all. But beyond those, one way of those doors, that's the intake of the building, and on the other side is the outtake of the building. So you have the morgue. And if you continue down that hallway past the gift shop entrance, right, there was another door, and that was closed as well. If you keep going down that hallway, you'll end up in the death tunnel. And so it's like that's the like just the sorrow that, you know, every dead body traveled that hallway out.
It makes you wonder, though, for those that were kind of being carted down that way and through that tunnel. And their like soul or spirit left their body. Do you ever think that as their body's being transported down that tunnel and loaded at the end, that they can see that? Like that they're there and they're watching their physical body being moved down there?
Not sure. I mean, that would freak me out to watch myself being
Wouldn't it though?
lowered down the death tunnel.
But I mean, you got to think. It's a very real possibility. I could see it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to be, you know, take it out into the world of Hollywood, but wasn't there a part like in Frighteners where the one athletic guy ended up dying and he ended up like chasing his body?
Well, he was at his own funeral.
Right.
But do you not think that in the real world and in reality, and outside of the Hollywood influence, that you don't think that there's people that have passed and have gone to their own funeral?
I think it probably depends on the situation because, you know, Waverly Hills, it was people that were sick and people that were mistreated and people that, you know, they were in a lot of pain. And so I would imagine that, you know, once they're done with their body, they're like, okay, I'm getting the hell out of here. And then, you know, for whatever reason, they can't get that far away from their body. They're like, damn it.
You never know. I mean, and that's what the paranormal is, right? It's a bunch of theories and a lot of unknowns.
It's pretty much all theory.
Exactly.
Yep. But, you know, and that's an interesting thought, though. I mean, I bet you there are a handful of people that actually followed their body out, you know? And, you know, maybe it was one of those things where it's like, you know, you're stuck in this place and you're isolated from your family. Like the people who went to Waverly, you know, it wasn't like, hey, I'm better, I'm coming home. It's like, no, you're kind of stuck here, you know, and your family's not going to see you. Your family's not going to see you anymore or be able to see you anymore. And so maybe they just follow their bodies out and it's like, you know, maybe I can see my family again.
I don't know if you know this, Stacy, but great grandma on mom's side, she was in a TB hospital. She had tuberculosis.
I hadn't heard that until actually just this past week.
Yeah. And the thing is when someone came down with TB and they went into one of these places, it was as simple as you're either leaving here on your own 2 feet, meaning you get better and you can leave, or you're leaving on, you know, in a body bag.
Yeah. And And that was the case well into the pandemic, until they actually discovered therapies that could actually treat the disease. And so they didn't know how to treat it. They're just like, you know what? We'll do what we can. Some fresh air, that should help. And they did some other awful experimental things, like removing ribs. And I heard one place they even like intentionally collapsed lungs.
They did. In fact, I do think that they actually did that at Waverly, if I remember correctly.
I think so. I think that surgeon on 4 was a little too liberal in his treatment methodologies.
Yeah, well, he was an asshole all the way around. So
yeah. So after you guys, we split up on, we left you guys on 1. I think we all came back and met up again, correct?
yeah, we all went back down to the gift shop, and I think we kind of regrouped a little bit, switched down any batteries. I know Stacy had some trouble with his video camera a little bit there for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing, to go to a place like that for the first investigation, and you don't really know what you're doing with your equipment. You don't have the right kind of batteries.
It's awkward like a first date. You're fumbling around. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, so...
Can't even get it in the right spot.
What are your first dates like?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, most of the video and audio stuff that I got at Waverly was pretty much garbage.
Really? Did you guys end up catching like any EVPs that you could listen to and say, yes, this is definitely something?
There was only one, and I had actually sent it to Josh. It was one that it was pretty clear, but I still couldn't tell what it was saying. I couldn't even tell if it was words. It was just this odd noise.
Could you tell whether it was male or female?
I would say it was male.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is like EVPs aren't all clear words and sentences and things like that. Sometimes they're hard to understand, and even backwards.
At times. Now, I don't know. I don't think we've ever gotten EVP that was backwards.
I've never gotten one. No.
But, here's a thought, though. Maybe the ones that you can't make sense of, no matter how you try, maybe they are actually backwards and you're just not thinking about that.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, some audio software out there allows you to play things backwards. I think I did that on Adobe Audition once, and I couldn't figure out how I managed to run it backwards. But
Nice.
It's possible.
You hit a button. Wasn't I sitting right next to you and you hit a button? You're like, hey, what'd I do? How'd I do that?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And I think it was actually on this Waverly file stuff. I think we were doing EVP listening, and it's like,
Right.
I broke it.
So after we regrouped and Stacy tried to figure out his camera, and I can't remember correctly if he actually got it to do anything.
It was one thing after another. I had a garbage battery for the IR lights.
Right.
And problems with the SD card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Nonstop.
I had to format your card while we were there.
You did. But even after all that, pretty much all the video had to be thrown out. Most of the audio had to be thrown out. It was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for everybody out there to understand. Like, if you buy new equipment and stuff, before you go on your investigation, make sure you know how it works.
Yes,
Yeah,
lesson
fire
learned.
it up. Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? I think all of us have learned that way. The first time I took out our new 4K digital camcorder, I didn't even take off the plastic covering the battery terminals. So it never even charged. We had to throw all that out.
But, and this is actually a common occurrence with Josh, though, I've noticed, is I'll be like, well, what about this? What about that? And he'll be like, yeah. And then he'll be like, oh, wait, maybe not. So we go through this often.
Look, every 2 weeks is not often.
It's too often. So what did we do after that? So we all came back. We kind of regrouped. If I remember correctly, didn't all 6 of us kind of head up to some of the other floors at that point?
I think at that point, we just kind of stayed as one group and hit each floor.
Each floor, right.
Yeah, I think we went all the way up to 5, didn't we? Up to the roof.
We
did.
jumped to 5. Yeah. We jumped to 5 though.
Yeah, we just jumped up and we
Yeah.
went from first to fifth, and then started
Right.
investigating on fifth. So
So did you guys feel anything up on 5? Like right out of the gate when you got up there? No,
No, nothing.
nothing that just stood out.
No, nothing that struck me about any of the floors except
One.
the first floor.
Yeah.
well, and you said that it felt oppressive. Like the first floor felt oppressive. How did you feel that the fifth floor felt, being up on the rooftop?
It only seemed to be when it was just me and Stacy. Like, the larger the group was, the less it felt that way. Because I only remember feeling that when it was him and I on the first floor by ourselves.
So what you're saying is, I think when you have the smaller numbers, like it's just you and another person, I think there's this sense of vulnerability that's there.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about earlier.
Yeah,
as we broke up, things got creepier.
Yeah. They sunk in more and you start to realize, oh, wow, we're exposed.
But do you feel the same way now, though? I mean, you've investigated now several other locations. You guys have gone off, together. Do you feel the same way now?
Not so much. We've done a few of these now, and I don't get creeped out quite as easy. In fact, the three of us went up to the third floor here, or not the third floor, attic, and I had no problem walking right down to the end of that attic, and it's really dark up there. No issues.
That's good, though. That just means you're just coming acclimated to how this goes and what
Right.
to kind of expect.
A little more comfortable with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You're a little more at ease and laid back about it.
I think it depends on who you are, though, because when we were doing the tour, there was, 4 of us? And the attic didn't feel that bad. But when we went up there and it was dark, I was trying to tell you not to walk away from me, but you went the way you went, and then Roger went the other way, so I'm standing there by myself, knowing that I don't want to be standing there by myself,
You could have followed one of us.
except that you were already asking questions, and I didn't want to interrupt.
We got interrupted anyway. You could have.
Oh, paranormal investigations in marriage. It's a very interesting paradigm.
It is. It can work really well. It can work really not well. And it can be somewhere in the middle.
Yep. So I think when we were up on 5, I think we split up a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, because 5 is, you got kind of the middle. It's the roof, technically. So on the left and right, you have just open roof you can walk out on. And in the middle of that, you have like a glass enclosure room
Yeah.
of sorts.
And one of those sides, if your back is to the elevators and stairwell, the left-hand side is what was considered the critical care wing. And the right-hand side is where they kept all the little ones. So if you've ever seen pictures of Waverly Hills with swing sets and other playground equipment on the rooftop, that is the side of the roof that it was on. And I think that's where Stacy and Karina and I went and started doing some EVP work.
Yeah, and we actually got an EVP off of that.
And some of us are very offended.
So I think we should we have those that we can put in, right?
Yeah, so we'll just how about we just put that EVP in right now. There's someone standing behind Stacy and Karina. Are they in the doorway? There's someone standing behind Stacy and Karina. Are they in the doorway? So you said you might be a little offended by it.
Well-
why would
well,
that
No,
be?
I said some of us are offended by
Oh,
that.
so why would that be?
Yeah, tell us what it was.
Well, so I think, Josh, you had the dowsing rods, didn't you?
I did. I had some dowsing at my light up dowsing rods in my hand, and I think Stacy had one of our little GoPros.
Yeah. And I wasn't hearing anything. I mean, we were getting some responses when you were asking questions, but I wasn't hearing anything, and I didn't see anything. I just was standing there all innocent and unaware.
And I think you guys, and I think I said that there was an entity standing behind you guys, but between you guys as well.
Right, because you asked if there was somebody standing behind Stacy. And I feel like you got a response to that on your dowsing rods.
I did, and it said yes, and that's where the dowsing rod said yes, that's where I'm standing. And that's when we also got the EVP that we just played.
Well, now you asked if they were standing behind Stacy, and then I didn't, because we weren't far. We could hear you.
Yeah.
So you asked if they were standing behind Stacy, and then you said, or Karina. And then right after you said Karina's name, that's where the EVP came in when we reviewed the audio. So do you feel like he was referring to you? I mean, I think this was the doctor, and he was such an ass.
It's hard to tell because I don't know if it was an intelligent response or if it was just like this is just something that he said on a regular basis. And so it was just like a playback on loop. I don't know, but the timing was kind of
unfortunate.
I was going to say the timing was a little bit odd for it to be happening at that, but yeah, unfortunate works too.
But I mean, if this is something that played on a loop, then he really called a lot of people prostitutes.
Well, exactly. I think
a lot.
I think the part though that was even more creepy than that was the EVP we picked up all of like 5 seconds after that one.
Are we referring to the one about Nicole that we think was about Nicole?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to tell that, or you want to tell that?
Go ahead.
Because I was
Go
on
ahead.
the other side with my dad and with my sister Nicole, and so Nicole was just talking about Nurse Mary, and anybody that knows Waverly is surely familiar with the story of Nurse Mary. If not, go look it up. It's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting theories as to how she died. Anyhow, so Nicole's talking about Nurse Mary and saying, I'm really sorry that you passed the way you did. And she's going on. And we get this EVP upon review of the audio that says, I want to strangle her. And it's I'm pretty sure that this entity was referring to Nicole. And the interesting part about this EVP was it was a male voice. It was the exact voice that said, I think she's a prostitute earlier over by Stacy and Karina. So exact same entity. So, and this is what leads me to believe it was intelligent.
Yeah. And we'll play that for you right now. So...
But I guess I didn't realize that both of those things were happening at the same time. So maybe he was standing down behind Stacy, but answering your questions, Like,
always a possibility.
Like if she was talking about, Nurse Mary, and he was responding to you, even though he was standing behind Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a challenge, right? Because you can't see them. And in this case, we couldn't hear them with our own ears. We could only pick up the audio later. We don't know the context in the direct, the person directed at, right?
Exactly.
Because if I'm looking at you and I say something like that, then you know who I'm speaking to.
You say something like that to me, and I will slap you.
Which is probably why the ghost never got slapped, right? Because we never knew at the time that it would happen.
So that leads to your intelligence theory.
There you go.
Yeah.
He was smart enough to know.
So after 5, I think we all went downstairs and we went to the morgue, and I think we did a quick EVP session in the morgue, didn't we?
We did. That started with, I think, you and Nicole one at a time, and I can't remember who went first.
I think it was Nicole that went
Yeah,
first.
she crawled down in the places where they put the body and slide you into the drawer. So she crawled down there. They have like a piece of plywood down there, and she crawled in there and laid. She didn't stay long. Of course, I don't know if I could either. I never attempted it. But after her, Josh actually crawled in there for a little bit. So
Yeah, and then we offered everybody else to go in there, and it was...
we all declined.
Everybody declined.
Yeah, and so we ended up leaving. Did we leave a video camera in there, or was it just the digital recorder?
We left both. We left a GoPro in there,
Yeah.
a full spectrum GoPro, and we left a digital in there for... I don't even know how long we left it in there, probably 30 minutes or so, while we kind of circled back, and Stacy tried to play with his bad batteries and try to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
I don't doubt it. To go to such an epic place.
I know, and not have your stuff work. 'Cause I'm not as sensitive. I don't, or anything like that. I kind of have to rely on the technology.
Equipment. Right.
And if it doesn't work, well, then kind of left with the personal experiences, which was very cool. But
You want more. You want something more concrete, I think.
well, documentation,
Sure.
if you can get it.
Sure. But have you found that over the last few years and the more investigations you do, are you feeling that you're kind of like tuning into a place's energy and what might be there when you walk in and you start investigating a little more now?
I think what I've learned over having done a few of these now is how to manage the equipment a little better, having extra batteries, good batteries, knowing how to use the equipment, but also not spending too much time looking at the screen.
Yeah, and so many people that go the route of the technology and the little device and stuff, they spend way too much time focusing on the screens or the lights or whatever. And it really does kind of throw you. It takes away.
Yeah, your night vision doesn't really develop that well if you're looking at that screen all the time. So I find if you turn it kind of towards the floor and
Less
maybe
temptation.
put your hand over it,
Yeah.
and just kind of hold it where you want it, and then you don't look at it anymore. Stare into the darkness.
Yeah.
And you'll see more.
Yeah, and this goes back to another piece, common piece of equipment we use is flashlights.
Yep.
But we always say, for those that kind of do this, to stay clear of the white flashlights, the white light. Go to red, use a red lens flashlight or a black light or a blue lens, because your eyes don't have to keep readjusting. It's not as hard for them to readjust to the darkness with the blue or the red lens.
Right. And
As
if
it
all
is
you
the white.
have is the white, put your hand
Over
it.
Yeah.
And open your fingers just a little bit, just to let the tiniest bit of light through, and that's effective as well.
Yes, everybody, write this down. It's important.
It'll prevent you from tripping over the conduit in the attic.
That thing should not be there.
Well,
Well, you found it, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It shouldn't be there.
well, and this is why the attic, where we're at, the attic is off limits to normal guests. And so we've been granted access to the attic, so we can actually do a paranormal investigation up there. So the attic here is a death trap. There's beams only about 3.5, 4 feet off the ground, crossing walking paths. There's big holes in the floor, not all the way down, mind you, but enough to break an ankle. And there's conduit and piping and all sorts of random stuff up there.
Hence the flashlight.
Yes, exactly. Don't be a hero. Carry a flashlight. You'll save yourself in the long run. So
So let's go on. So that pretty much wrapped up Waverly for us, didn't it?
yeah, I mean, we did go up to did some more investigations, and then investigating, I should say, and then Stacy, Karina, and I think we finished out the last 30 minutes of the night up in a section that has been renovated more now because of the haunted houses and stuff that they're doing there. And I think it was the old cafeteria is where we spent the last part of the night. And that was pretty uneventful.
Do you remember if you got any EVPs? If you guys got anything upon review later?
I don't think we did. And I think that you were trying out the green light.
Oh, laser
The
grid.
laser grid, yeah.
Yeah, but I just remember you spent most of the time messing with that because it just wasn't functioning like it was supposed to be.
Or he didn't know how to.
No, it was the new one that you bought at Waverly, that big thick one.
Yeah.
And it just didn't want to work properly, and so we used that a little bit. But we did do an EVP session up there, and it was a big old zero burger.
And that does happen.
It does.
It does happen.
So, and that's the thing, right? Is when you're doing these investigations, if you do get touched or talked to or have some form of communication, you should feel kind of lucky and honored that they spent their energy to actually interact with you, because they don't have to. You know, they can just choose to let you go your way.
Well, and this is, treat them as they were in life, like humans. Be respectful, be kind. So many times we watch these, ghost hunting shows, and this isn't all of them, but this is a good grab of them, and they do the intimidation and they badmouth and they try to provoke and stuff. And the thing is, I mean, if you came into my home and you got up in my face and started doing that, you're going to get decked.
Exactly.
And it can happen with the paranormal too.
And the biggest difference is that if you do piss off my wife and she decks you, you can see it coming. But you're not going to see a ghost deck you.
Unless it throws a shoe.
Who throws a shoe anyway?
Who
Seriously.
does that? But boy, the accuracy on that was
Shoe
perfect.
or...
Flip-flop.
Yeah, flip-flop or ballpoint pen.
What?
Did I throw the ballpoint pen? Is that when I cracked the cupboard?
Yes.
The glass?
Yeah, you threw a pen at me.
Oh, yeah. He was a shit.
Well, did you learn?
No, I didn't.
He never learns.
So after Waverly,
Next day.
the next day, right? And after we recovered a little bit, I think we went out to the Mega Caverns.
Yeah, well, Stacy had texted us. I don't think we were even aware that there was any such thing there in Louisville. And Stacy had texted, and he said, "Hey, Cree and I are planning on going here. You guys want to go?" And I said, "Hey, yeah, buy us tickets, and we'll Venmo our, we'll refund you." And so yeah, we ended up going.
Yeah, I think Karina found that because we were looking for something else to do. We had a little more time in Louisville, and she had found that. I don't even know how she found it, but
It popped up on like the 10 most fun things to do or 10 interesting things to do or something like that, which is another lesson that we learned because we had several days that we were going to be there. And so I was trying to find other haunted locations and other places that had a lot of activity.
turns out there was a lot that we were not aware of.
Well,
There's
yeah.
a ton in Kentucky alone.
Well, yeah. It turns out that the hotel that we were at, or the spot that we were at, there is more than a dozen places that are within an hour's drive. Not a single one of them popped up on my search.
Well, that doesn't work very well, does it?
No.
No, not at all.
Hour and a half north was Bobby Mackey's. Mm-hmm. Could have went there.
Yeah, and see, Josh and I figured out the same thing
And if you go
after the fact.
Yeah, and if you go 2 hours east, you end up at the Jim Beam Distillery, the old number 9 distillery, which is reported to be haunted as well.
So you kind of have to have, we figured out that you kind of have to have like a general idea. And actually a lot of our places that we want to visit come from watching TV shows and, paranormal TV stuff and things like that. But yeah, I don't know if somebody's interested in creating a search engine that makes it a little easier, because if you just search haunted locations near me, you get nothing.
Which is really messed up when you're considering you're in the South.
Right?
And I don't think you can throw a stone without hitting anything haunted in the South in the U.S.
So what was your guys' thought on the Mega Cavern? I thought it was pretty cool. I couldn't believe that, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you're under the zoo now," and,
Yeah, it goes back a mile and a half, 2 miles.
Yeah, fair
like
distance,
that.
yeah. But they had zip lining in there, BMX bike tracks in there. And if I remember correctly, they stored some of Hollywood stuff, like the old family truckster from Vacation down in there, because the temperature is a consistent 65 degrees year round.
I don't remember anybody saying that. The family trucksters down there?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was right at the end, closer to the end.
yeah.
You think you hate it now. Wait till you drive it.
I thought the part that was kind of cool is that they also do like a Christmas light display down in there where people drive. It's just like a drive-through display.
Oh, that was pretty.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And I was just glad I wasn't actually driving, because it was a little psychedelic driving through those arches of twinkle lights and stuff.
Worth it, though.
Oh, it's so worth it. I'm just glad I wasn't behind the wheel.
Right? I don't blame you. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. And so I think that's kind of where we parted ways, because I think we were heading out. But I think Stacy and Karina, I think they visited a couple more places. Why don't you guys tell us about those?
I don't actually remember where else we went.
Well, we were having trouble looking for things to do. We did wind up at an arcade for the first half of that day before the flight.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys go to a cemetery?
Have some run-in with some bees. if I
Forgot
remember
about
correctly.
that. Yep, we
Yeah,
did.
That was the Cave Hill Cemetery. I forgot about that. Muhammad Ali's buried up there. Colonel Sanders is up there. And a lot of beehives.
And-
Yeah, and they're not killer bees, but if you're on their half of the cemetery, they will come for you.
They're not killer bees, but they were trying to kill y'all.
Yeah, we weren't even close to them, and they started chasing us.
Oh, no, we got pretty close. And
I don't feel like I was that close.
we were within probably 15 feet of the hives.
Dang. Did you just not realize that it was there until you were that close?
Well, you know, common knowledge tells you, they're honeybees. You don't bother them, they won't bother you. That's wrong.
But were they actually honeybees or were they hornets?
They were honeybees. They were cultivating honey over there.
So you hung around long enough to make sure they were honeybees, or did you just run?
Well, I started hearing the buzzing, and pretty soon they're crawling in my shirt, and I'm looking, down my sleeves and everything. And I look, and yeah, they're honeybees.
Wow.
They're defending their hive, and
Of course.
pretty soon I had enough of them hanging off me that I had to strip my shirt and run across the cemetery.
Some really white guy running through a cemetery, running through the headstones, screaming and waving his shirt.
Yeah, the landscapers were immensely enjoying that. Yeah, because they were right there,
Yeah, I'm sure
watching
they were
the whole
watching,
thing. Yeah.
I wish I
laughing.
was there. I would have been taking pictures or video. I mean,
Oh, yeah. We would have been rolling on the floor laughing.
no,
Well,
I
because-
would have been filming.
Well, you would have been filming and I would have been laughing. And if that would have been the case and we were there, you would never hear the end of it.
Probably
He's not gonna now.
Well, that's true. What I'd probably do is I'd take the video and put some soundtrack to it, like Chariots of Fire when they're running on the beach,
That would have been good.
right?
Yeah, we both got stung several times.
Yeah,
And I think we wound up at a bar after that.
sure did.
I'd need a drink too.
I'm seeing a pattern here. Like when Stacy goes out, he just goes to the bar. What are you doing in town? Going to a bar. Want to go to Bobby Mackey's? That's a bar, you know that, right? Might be haunted, but it's still a bar.
Bar number 1,
I
paranormal number 2.
I think we needed a drink after that.
I don't blame you. So what did you guys do after that? Did you do anything, or did you just kind of gear up to get ready for your flight home?
Well, those bees were pretty traumatic, so it was.
I think we were just done.
Yeah.
The next day we spent a little time at the arcade in the morning and, hit the go-kart track.
Yeah.
And then out to the airport. That was it.
Flew on home, huh? In the meantime, the rest of the group, since we drove, we were stopping at Uranus and Titanic Museum in Branson, Missouri. We ended up going to Dodge City and that wasn't anything that was even on our radar, but Dad had came to us and said, I think the day we were leaving Kentucky, and said, I really want to go to Dodge City. There was a wax museum, Old West wax museum up there.
Where is Dodge City?
Kansas.
Yep. So in one day, we did Kentucky, drove to Missouri, to Branson, Missouri.
And Uranus, because
And
that was off
Uranus.
Route 66.
But that was on the way, thankfully.
Yes, it was.
But Branson, east of Louisville, not west. And then we drove all the way back west, past where we cut off earlier in the day, and then finished in Kansas.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a haul for drive.
It was. Dad was grumpy. We let him pick the motel we stayed at. Bad move. Bad move.
I don't think I've heard this story. Why was that a bad move?
Well, so a lot of people pick hotels based upon a few factors, right? Cost is usually a big one, right? Amenities, right? They got a pool or whatnot. And I tend to be a little more thinking with my stomach, and I usually pick hotels based upon the breakfast that they have. Your dad likes to pick on price. But
I understand it. That was a long trip.
It
That
was.
was not a cheap trip.
no. But Dodge City, there's not a lot of choices, right? And so I think he picked a La Quinta, or it was a name brand place, right? So it wasn't like awful in that regards of the name. But we get there, and it is straight out of Poltergeist. There's TVs outside the doors, on the floor, on the concrete. The pool has been concreted in, filled in with concrete.
The doors are warped. I mean, we tried to shut our room door, and you had to really push on it to let it latch and throw the bolt lock. But then if you look up at the top, the gap between the door frame and the door got wider and wider, and you could see outside.
And then the door in between the rooms, right? You always got the connecting door. Ours didn't even have a door handle on it.
Yeah. So if they would have checked anybody in next door, that person could look through the door handle and watch us sleeping.
Or just walk in, because
Or just
there's
walk
no
on
way to
in.
stop them from coming in.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Dad even admitted the next day, yeah, that wasn't my best choice.
But the mattresses were
Yeah,
great.
well, they had just put in so they were renovating.
Yeah.
So that's why all the old tube TVs were set outside the doors of every room. You remember in the end of Poltergeist, they check into a motel room and they all go in and shut the door, and then the dad opens up the door and wheels the tube TV out and
Yes,
outside
I
the
do
door.
remember
Yeah,
that.
Yep.
so
Yes.
and there's a picture of that in the video montage too,
Absolutely.
of all those TVs sitting out there.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was your first kind of foray into the paranormal investigation world.
Were you hooked after that? Were you guys just like, this is something I want to do again?
For me, it was. Yeah, I just as kind of a hobby, just a
Sure.
different sort of thing to do.
New places, the unknown, adventure. Love it.
Well, and for me, it's more like, okay, we can get away and we can hang out together. And like, so not so much about the place that we're going as that, it's kind of a mini escape for the two of us.
Always good too.
Mini escape into a dark, dirty, dungy, cold
Still
location.
still quality time.
It's
Come on.
true.
Yeah, who doesn't like hanging out in the dark with their spouse?
That's true. Even in like a prison. Or in a prison cell. Right?
Okay, yeah, Josh, I don't know if I go that far.
If we're going to go there, though, last time we went to prison, I hung out with your wife and you hung out with my husband. Just saying.
Yeah,
That's true.
We paired off, and yeah.
That's true, we did.
That sounds really bad.
And that is a bit of a lesson I learned is don't eat bad. Do not go to Montana and do not eat oyster soup. It's never
Not
good.
at all where I thought you were going to go with that.
No.
But
But
That's another show.
that's
though.
just another
We'll-
show
we'll
of
get to that.
of awfulness and stuff. But yeah, how many have you been on now?
How many? Waverly, the Montana prison a couple times, the Petite Neat Schoolhouse, this place here.
So a handful,
Yeah, five or six. I feel like I'm forgetting one.
but they're all
yeah,
good locations.
We did Amanda's house.
Oh, yeah, that was sort of a
Residential,
residential, on the fly kind of thing.
just last minute kind of.
Really didn't get anything out of that, but
Yeah, but it was still something. Well, you do get something out of it. You kind of get experience and stuff, and you find that the more you do this, and the more you tune into certain things, energy wise, but you also find new and better and more efficient ways to use the equipment and stage the equipment.
the problem with that residential though is that if we'd have discovered something there, I have no idea how to get rid of it. I mean, that's what you do with the residentials, right? They're having a problem. You go in, you figure out what's going on, and then you try to resolve that.
Well,
We'd have had no resource to do that.
maybe not the time, but if you ever come across that again, you guys know who to call now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
you got connections now, right?
Amanda solved that problem on her own. She
did.
got rid of her bed frame. That was the end of it. So good luck, Francis.
But one more question before we kind of wrap this up, guys. How are you feeling about the 2023 trip? So we're not going to divulge our locations or anything or when we're going, but I want to know what are your thoughts at knowing some of the locations that we're going without naming them? Is there excitement there? Is there one in particular that you really are looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to every stop on that trip. It's going to be a long haul because we are driving. We're not going to try to fly that. It's going to be a pretty expensive trip as well, but these are really iconic type places
Absolutely.
that really looking forward to going through them.
Epic road trip. I know
Yep.
that before Dad passed, this was one that he was really keen on doing.
Oh, I think he's going to be doing them.
Oh, you know what? He told me he was.
Yeah.
He flat out told me. He's like, I won't be there physically. He goes, but damn it, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be.
Yeah. And he has his own ways of letting us know when he's around.
Yep, he does.
Like when we're recording this, these podcasts, Dad has come through at times. And I love that he does that. And I always encourage him to saunter up to any microphone and just say whatever.
Saunter,
Sachet, whatever.
I like to
Whatever
pirouette.
you do. Well, we can't see it anyways. He could.
That's true.
But yeah, I always tell him, come up there and go, pizza cutter.
That's right.
Josh knows what that means. Pizza cutter.
All too well. Story for another time, though. So, last question for me is: everybody's got a paranormal bucket list, right? And I think you guys might have crossed one off that list. So, what is the number one place that if you could go, money, time, not an object, where would it be?
Castle in Ireland.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lep Castle.
Yeah,
I think
that's
if I
on
had
ours too.
Yeah.
A backup, probably Penhurst.
Penhurst would be epic.
Penhurst Insane Asylum?
Was that an insane asylum?
I can't remember. No, I think it was a prison.
That's a prison, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was a prison. So, and Penhurst is in Ohio, or is it in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, western Pennsylvania, right outside of like Pittsburgh area, or is it east? I can't remember.
I don't know. It was labeled the Sorrow of Pennsylvania
Wow.
because of the level of abuse, long-term abuse in that place.
Yeah, and I think the other one in Pennsylvania, I can't remember the name of it now. They don't do investigations there anymore. It was the
Eastern State?
Eastern State.
Yeah.
That was also
Well-
in Pennsylvania, and that was also a bit on the abusive, atrocious side of
Absolutely. But Eastern State, one of the reasons that they did quit letting, paranormal groups typically come in there and stuff and do those things is because, it's so dilapidated and it's just more of a risk than anything. And so they just decided to just stop.
things. Yeah, and they're trying to reform their image, which I think is a mistake. A lot of people love the paranormal, and a lot of people go to these places just for that. Even Stanley Hotel, they shut down their stuff for quite a while. Their investigations and their paranormal stuff, they denied it for decades. And then,
Doesn't make any sense. That history is not going to go away.
no, the history's never going to go away. And so they learned their lesson, and I believe they started that stuff back up, from what I've heard.
It only makes sense for them too. I mean, these venues, they're making money off of this.
Oh,
Since
yeah.
Paranormal's gotten to be a kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't 30 years ago.
No.
But now people are making money with it.
Well, exactly. And I think Eastern State wants to do weddings there. Like,
No,
That's kind of weird.
that is
right?
weird.
Of all the places you can get married, you're going to choose a prison. I mean, marriage is like prison.
Well,
Oh.
divorce, I could free you with divorce. I mean,
That's like a jailbreak. That doesn't work.
I won't blink. Use your get out of jail free card. I don't care. I'll pack your bag. Be right back. But that being said, we want to thank Stacy and Karina for joining us on this.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on.
Yep.
Well, thanks for allowing me to do this.
Absolutely.
I still think you're crazy.
I think it worked out well.
I do
and
too.
you did just fine. So, Josh, why don't you tell our wonderful listeners out there where they can find us on Facebook?
You can find us on Facebook at the Paranormal Peeps podcast page. You can also find us at Coldspot Paranormal Research. We have both a page and a group that you can come and join. And then you can also find us on Instagram at Coldspot_paranormal_research. And you can find us on YouTube at Paranormal Research.
Yeah, and a reminder, guys, go to YouTube and check out our 2019 Kentucky trip montage.
Absolutely.
You won't regret it.
You will not. Stay ghosty, my peeps. Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Coldspot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at Coldspot_paranormal_research.